Whether you drive a car,
need a car,
or just occasionally bum a ride with friends,
you've come to the right place.
Join Jill and Tom as they break down everything that's going on in the auto world.
New car reviews,
Shopping tips,
driving green,
electric cars,
classic cars,
and plenty of great guests.
This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, this is the Car Stuff Podcast. I am Tom Appel. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. When you have a chance, you know the drill. Visit us at consumerguide.com. While you're there, check out our 2024 Best Buy picks. You can listen to the podcast right there on our homepage. And all of my cool and fun reviews are right there. You can read them. You can share them. You should share them with lots and lots of people. Also, regarding the podcast, while you can listen on the podcast homepage or on our homepage, you really want to just subscribe.
Yes.
Yes. That voice was Jill Simonello. She is managing editor of Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. She's a North American Car of the Year juror. She claims to be a freelancer. You claim to be a freelancer?
I claim to be a freelancer.
Okay, you just got here, Jill. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I hit a little traffic.
Did you?
I did.
You know, we did not see this year, in my opinion, the summer slowdown in traffic. Once a month, I drive from my office in the evening to get down to 6:30 p.m. to WCPT Studios to visit with Patty Vasquez. That is a 90-minute affair.
Yeah.
That's from the northwest suburbs of Chicago to the north side of Chicago, right by Superdog.
Yep, right by Superdog.
Glorious Superdog. It should
Yes.
not be that hard to get to Superdog.
No, it really shouldn't. And it takes me a full hour to get from the city, and I'm on the northwest side.
You're right around there.
Yeah, I'm not too far. So it takes me an hour from me to get there to here, and then on the way home, it takes me about probably a little more than an hour.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah,
that used to be roughly my commute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. I have a question for you. By the way, we appreciate the effort. Thank you for being here.
Well, you're welcome.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is the worst thing that can happen if you pick the wrong donut?
You get hives?
Okay, that's pretty extreme. But here's why I'm asking. I keep running into this. And going to the donut store at 2 in the afternoon is like a dead man's zone because people who have nothing to do wander into donut shops at 2 in the afternoon and will spend a considerable amount of time picking out 2 or 3 donuts. And it's always the same thing. It's always a middle-aged woman in front of me who is pursing her lips and tapping her lips with a finger, making very hard decisions and asking good questions about donuts, though you should not have to ask questions about donuts. Everything you need to know is right there in front of you.
Yes.
Just buy the donuts.
Just buy the donuts.
Oh, my God.
Just don't buy the pink donuts if you have a dye allergy, because then you'll get hives.
Do you think it was the donut?
I really think it was the donut.
Okay, we got 3 donuts today. I got
and
a Kreller.
none of them are pink. Thank you.
I got a Kreller.
Ugh.
The Krellers, really?
Yeah, I'm just going to be going with the chocolate.
The Krellers are hollow, and the interesting thing about that is you could like hide your stash in there. Have you ever seen the inside of like a Kreller? No, and you're making that be Randy's donut.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, Randy, the Kreller is yours. It's chocolate dipped. All right. Producer Randy checking in there. He didn't check in. We checked in with Randy.
Yes.
Oh, man, what a day.
He gave us an okay.
Later on, we're talking about the LA Auto Show.
We are.
I'm excited. Auto Show season is coming.
It is.
And the LA Auto Show has been very exciting for a while. A lot of cool stuff that makes it, stuff that doesn't.
Yep.
So we'll be talking to Dan Sampson.
Yep, and I actually just completed my registration for the LA Auto Show today.
Did you see you're going?
I'm planning on going.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. I got a car I'm driving right now.
Okay.
After driving a lot of exotic stuff,
Okay.
It's really weird to be in a car that I fit in nicely.
That is normal?
That is normal. Except it's not normal for a couple of reasons. It's actually kind of exceptional. I'm driving the Hyundai Elantra Limited Hybrid.
Okay.
I said that wrong. It's Hybrid Limited.
Okay. I just had the Sonata Limited, Hybrid Limited.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this car is not only very good, it's incredibly affordable. 31 grand, very well equipped with Bose audio.
Yeah.
Which I care about.
The Bose audio is very good.
Here's the thing, 54 miles per gallon.
That's
I'm
awesome.
seeing 54 miles per gallon. I do have a problem with the power delivery.
Okay.
It's a little wonky down low.
Okay.
Like the throttle response isn't just even. But I want to ask you about something, and we just talked about this off air, so I
Right.
know you don't know about it. But
But you're going to ask me anyway.
But I have to throw the question out there because I didn't know about it.
Okay.
There's a hybrid blue in the lineup.
Yes.
It's called the Blue.
I've heard of it, but I don't know
Yeah,
anything
well,
about
me
it.
too. And they don't advertise it, and it doesn't end up in the test fleets, and no one talks about it, but you can order it, you can buy it. Here's the interesting thing about the Blue. It's a trim level below the Limited. Those are the only two trim levels
Okay.
for the Elantra Hybrid.
Okay.
It's $3,000 less.
Okay.
At 30 grand, that's significant. That's 10%. And it gets, here's the weird part. I wrote down the numbers and I forgot them already. The Elantra Hybrid is rated at 50 mpg combined.
Okay.
That's the limited that I'm driving. The Blue is rated at 54. 4 mpg better, almost 10% better.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yes.
Like, really? Why? I
And
think
if you
it's
have a
because
guess, it's as good as my research.
I think it's because of equipment. So a limited vehicle is going to have more features, more things that add weight. Whereas the Blue is probably more pared down, lighter materials, and they've probably done something to take some of the weight out of the vehicle. You should look at the weight. I mean, we don't have the specs in front of us.
I did.
Okay.
And you were on the right track because the only differences I could find was the curb weight.
Yeah.
About 105 pounds,
Yep,
which is not significant.
That's just me.
It's one you.
Yeah.
It's one Jill, or some small fraction of me, and then it has smaller wheels.
Okay.
16s instead of 17s.
Yeah, they're probably like
And we know
low
that
resistance.
impacts electric vehicles a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it impacts a really good, efficient hybrid. But
Maybe
there
about
it is.
4 mpg.
But 4 mpg, $3,000 less.
Yeah.
If you are a miser that wants to drive around in comfort, that's the car for you. It's like $27,000 out the door.
Yeah.
And you can probably get a deal on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got. I was just sort of surprised, but we can talk about this vehicle later when I write a review of it. But I like it a lot.
Okay.
It is very roomy, very nicely finished inside. 31 grand seems like a screaming good deal. Bose audio, really comfortable, nice on the highway.
And it gets a bit of a design refresh this year. I haven't driven it since the refresh, but
Refresh for 24.
Yes.
I'm driving the refresh.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm confirming.
I'm like, yes, because it was at the Mama Rally in the spring.
Okay.
Along with the Sonata, which also got a little bit of a design refresh. And but I remember when I drove it, I think I drove the all new next gen vehicle in like 2021, maybe. And maybe end of 2020, and it is delightful. And the N-Line version is so not the hybrid, but when you're looking at the Elantra in general, the N-Line version is amazing. The N, I've found very few bad things to say about Elantra in general.
The N-Line gets you some suspension tweaking, but no power. Is that correct?
I think that is correct. It also gets you an available manual transmission. At least it did. I don't know if it still does.
I didn't see it today when I was going through EPA numbers.
Yeah,
I don't know. That might be gone.
Wah, wah.
All right. Last week we talked about the Explorer that you drove, you reviewed, you liked. News today from Automotive News, our friends at Automotive News.
News today from Automotive News. Okay.
Yep. I guess that's okay. It is an echo.
It is.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
That's fine.
Word today from Automotive News.
Perfect. Better.
I do hate echoes.
Yeah.
I do.
The redundancy, Department of Redundancy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't do that again.
No. Okay.
All right. The GMC Terrain, GMC's compact crossover, nice vehicle, sells in reasonable volume. Interesting thing about it,
Okay.
relative to the Explorer, they are trimming trim levels.
Yes.
Oh, I did it again. They're trimming trim levels.
Trimming trim levels. Yeah. You've been cut off. You've been cut off.
But they're going from 4 to 3.
Okay.
But for 2025, there'll only be 1.
There can be only one.
Yeah. So the new trim level is called Elevation.
Okay.
Which I think is already available on the Sierra Big Pickup.
Yeah, I think it might also be on the Acadia.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. So that replaces the old SLE base and the SLT, like lower mid-trim level, and it'll just be Elevation. And for all of 2025, it's just Elevation. But they're going to add, predictably, an AT4 and a Denali.
Yeah.
So those are coming, but there will be a package, of course, on the Elevation called Black Edition, which is a trim level and upgrade equipment thing that kind of serves as a half-step trim level.
Okay.
Because I think it's going to be pretty expensive. But that's the deal. They're simplifying things as well. And I just wanted to point something out. They sold 50,000 Terrains in the first 6 months of this year, and they're going to take that down to 3 trim levels, even though they're doing about $100,000 a year in volume. Meanwhile, I'm just tossing this out there because I never understand anything that Mitsubishi's doing. The Outlander, selling about half as well, is currently available in 7 trim levels. I don't know how a dealer manages that.
Yeah, they probably only have one available, and then like people order
Yeah.
a different. I have no idea.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stock the cheapest stuff, keep that on the
I have
lot.
to say, I really like the Outlander, but yeah, Mitsubishi.
Well, the Outlander, people who don't know this, is mechanically very similar to the Nissan Rogue.
Yep.
So it's got good bones.
It does have good bones.
And it's not like there's been things wrong with Mitsubishi products in the past, but they haven't been great.
No, their strategy is undefined.
Yeah. But what they have is a weak dealer network now.
Yeah.
And it's getting weaker because they sell fewer and fewer vehicles.
Yeah, because I think Mirage is now dead.
Is it? Yes.
I think it
yes,
is,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah, the Mirage was their base 3-cylinder car. That was unpleasant.
Yeah. I never drove it.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, I made a big deal of driving into a rally and trying to get 40 MPG. So I was doing the Wayne Gertis thing. Wayne is the guy
Hypermiling.
who claims to have invented the term hypermiling.
He coined the term.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he always gets mad at me for saying claims. I'm like, I can't prove you did it. And I'm a journalist. Maybe you did.
But nobody outside of our
Cares.
Well, no, and has ever heard of hypermiling.
No. But hypermiling is annoying other people.
Yeah,
basically.
and if you don't know what hypermiling is, it's essentially driving at an optimal speed. So, as Wayne likes to say, between the limits. So if the speed limit is 75 and the minimum speed limit is 45, you drive 45. Which means
between.
You get pulled over by cops for driving too slow. Been in the car when that happened. It also means that you are incredibly light on the throttle. If you're coming up to a red light and the light is red, you don't speed up to the red light just to stop. You kind of start coasting into it. I've been in the car with him when he's actually turned off the engine on downhills.
Yeah.
That was terrifying.
He also cheats. He does a thing at gas stations where he rolls into a gas station, and if there's energy left, he will roll around the pumps until he comes to a dead stop. I'm like, that wasn't mileage involved in taking you to where you were going. So
I don't know that that's cheating.
That's cheating.
It's not cheating.
You're adding mileage.
It's not cheating.
That isn't on part of your trip. Anyway.
But at any rate. So hypermiling.
It is cheating.
It's a thing. It's not cheating.
But anyway, Mitsubishi, a lot of trim levels.
Yes.
Man,
circling back to that.
Man, did we go off track
Yeah,
there.
we did.
By the way, we talked about where we were listened to last week. Chicago's still big, but smaller. 5% last week. But Indianapolis, 19th.
So my family is finally starting to listen.
Sort of.
Maybe.
19th, after Madison.
Okay. I have maybe a family member who is listening there then.
A few, but
that would probably be my sister Julie. Thank you.
Yeah, Chicago, Charlotte, New York City, Minneapolis, Columbus. Those were the top 5.
I have family in Columbus too.
Columbus sort of makes sense because everything in Ohio is kind of a car town.
Yeah.
So there you have it. All right, real quick. You know what? I had a fun quiz, but I think we're going to get to that later because you were going to tell us about the Genesis GV80 Coupe.
Yes, the coupe.
The coupe, and we had a little talk about that last week and how it shouldn't be called a coupe.
Yeah, because it's got 4 doors.
But you drove it, and now you can talk about the drive experience.
I can talk about the drive experience, and
the price.
And the price. So base price is about $79,000.
Yes.
And so it is definitely not your inexpensive SUV. And I would argue that it is now certainly much more in line with the cost of BMW, Mercedes, these luxury automakers that it's trying to compete with. However, I will also say it has probably a lot more standard features because Mercedes and BMW like to play the everything's an option game, whereas you kind of get pretty much everything you want on the vehicle at the base price.
The BMW X6, which is the coupe version of the X5, I think it would be hard to do one of those these days for much less than $100,000.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive vehicle.
Yeah.
It's cool as heck.
It's definitely cool as heck.
Yeah.
But this vehicle is 2-row SUV. So you have the GV80, which is available with 3 rows. This is dedicated 2-row SUV built on the same platform. And it has a 48-volt E supercharger, which takes the horsepower.
On the top trim level.
On the top trim level.
Yeah.
Available, and that's what we drove. And it takes horsepower up over 400. So it's 409 horsepower, 405 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
It is impressive.
We should talk briefly about what that is technically. Because
Yes.
there is the regular version, the 3.5T.
Yep.
3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6.
Yes.
Nice engine, 375 horsepower.
375,
A lot of power.
Yeah.
This E supercharger.
Yeah.
E supercharger is essentially an electric supercharger that augments the turbocharger and basically fills in the gaps. When you take off from a stop, the exhaust gas that drives the turbos isn't there yet.
Yeah.
And you can do things with twin scroll and smaller turbos to make that work, and BMW makes that work. But in this, so do a lot of turbo manufacturers. Yeah. But this will fill in those gaps, so you get more immediate power. Mm-hmm. And after shifts, sometimes you'll lose a little bit of power too. This fills that in.
Yes.
So it's a very simple system, which I guess has proven reliable because it's been around on the G90 for a while now. Mm-hmm. So they're moving that engine from the premium version of the G90 into this. Mm-hmm. And that's exclusive to the coupe.
Yep, to the coupe. Yes, and I have to tell you, it is smooth as heck.
Is it?
It is very, very impressive. In terms of powertrain, and I always get down on this feature all the time. The only thing that I really didn't like is the auto stop start. So this is where you come to a complete stop and the engine shuts off, and then. And
it wasn't good here?
It wasn't as smooth as I wanted it to be.
See, I've been driving Subarus.
Oh, those are very bad. Muy mal, very bad.
So all things are relative.
Yeah, they are. So this is better than that. I will say it's better than that. But for a vehicle that you're spending $80,000 on, you want it to just be amazing.
And here's the big question: can you turn it off?
You can turn it off.
But does it default on every time you get in the car? So you have to turn it off. It's a minor thing.
But you have to turn it off.
And you're not going to remember when you get in there. You're going to get to your first traffic jam, and you're going to be like, "Oh God,
crap.
Turn that off."
Yeah, turn that off. And it's really funny because at these days, I pretty much leave it on when I'm driving a test vehicle because I want to see how it operates. My husband will get in the car with me, and the first thing he does is he turns it off because he hates it.
It does have a real impact on fuel economy. And but it can have a detrimental impact to things like climate control.
Yeah.
So if on a hot day, often it won't shut off at all, but if it does, the AC is going to go warm.
Yeah, and that is one of my primary complaints about the auto stop-start engine in a lot of vehicles is it shuts off your HVAC, and then getting the engine to turn back on is enough of a stutter, it's like a couple of seconds, that if you're really trying to get into a window of traffic, you could have missed your window.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate if that's a condition, because I've driven some really good stop-starts lately to the point where you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's impressive. And they're getting better.
Yeah, they are getting better. I'm in the Honda Ridgeline right now, and this is one of the not good ones.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, because that's such a good engine. Anyway, tell us about this car. Fun to drive, nice inside.
Yeah, fun to drive, nice inside.
Worth almost $100,000?
Hey, I think it is.
Okay.
Because
that's the big question here.
Yeah, I'd say you put your hand over the badge on the steering wheel, and you would not have any clue that you're in a Genesis.
I've long said that, especially the GV80, the interior is fit for a Bentley.
Yeah, I mean the surfaces and the materials are really nice. The vehicle that I had the opportunity to drive had a really unique blue and orange interior. So it was like a blue leather interior with
sporty
orange stitching, and it had orange seat belts.
It sounds awful.
It was lovely.
Okay.
I loved it. And I think there are some people that don't like the contrast for the seat belt.
But Chicago Bears fans like it.
Chicago Bear fans would absolutely go gaga over it. It is quite lovely. And I liked how it looked. I like the accents, the padding, the stitching, the piping, the detail on the steering wheel, the emblems, the etching on the turn signal indicator, like the end of the turn signal indicator. It's like every single detail is thought of.
I forgot to check this. Is this the same wheelbase as the GV80 standard?
I did not look at that either.
But does it ride and handle about the same?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit sportier because, again, we were in the E-supercharged version, and it feels a little bit more sporty and a little more nimble. I mean, the thing about the coupe is the fastback. It has like a fastback ending to it, so it doesn't have the extra heft in the back, and so it does feel a little bit lighter.
Really, you can feel the weight difference,
I think
the weight distribution difference.
Just a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The other thing about that too is generally, I didn't check this, I didn't think of it, but a fastback design should improve your fuel economy. Because you have the conclusion of the air path over the car isn't as jarring.
And there's like spoilers and things like that.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like a first drive, you can't really know because you're in the car for like 4 hours.
So good car, nice car.
Yes.
Available when?
Imminently.
Imminently. All right. That
Yep.
car, I wrote this down here real quick. The standard coupe starts around $82,000. That's about $2,000 more than the highest price version of the standard vehicle. So that's your tax.
And that includes destination, right?
And then includes
Yep.
destination. And then the other thing there to consider is that it's only available in these 2 top trim levels.
Yep.
One without and one with the e-Supercharger. Test drive both because the e-Supercharger, kind of worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it. And I think the way that they've positioned this vehicle is not to necessarily be completely in line with the SUV. It is specifically meant to be like a trim above.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things about that, too, if you check the sales of successful vehicles that have coupe versions, the X4, the X6, the Cayenne Coupe, I think now, the coupe versions tend to do about 10% the volume of the standard vehicle. So the manufacturer really needs to make it up in price.
Yeah.
So they want it to be a top trim level, and then they're going to jack up that price a little bit.
Right.
But if they're exclusive and there's a market for that, why not? And I suspect that if you go ahead and buy this, you're going to get your money back in resale value.
Yeah. Well, and I will say they've done a really good job of the exterior design, because I think a lot of the coupe versions of these vehicles look like eggs. And this has a longer, sleeker line to it that just
I tend to
better.
like, and we're running over, but I tend to like the coupe versions of things. I don't know about the Mercedes-Benz GLE.
Yeah.
That looks a little weird to me.
Yeah.
Like a little too eggy, to quote you.
Too
but
eggy.
the BMW X6 I think is gorgeous. All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, we talk to Dan Sampson. He's the Chief Marketing Officer for the LA Auto Show. Stick around.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Consumer Guide Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom. She's Jill, and we're going to talk a little LA Auto Show.
Yes.
All right, real quick, help me out here.
Oh, you want to talk about that X-Twitter thing?
I'm on Twitter. I'm Car Guy Tom on Twitter. I don't want to belabor the point because we want to talk some LA Auto Show.
Yes.
But I found some great cars over the weekend using the, what is it, the Car Spotter hashtag.
Car Spotter. Not Car Stuff. I'm trying to promote the show. You're trying to promote your Car Spotter.
Or myself, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
or
that
yourself.
guy.
Got it.
I'm
You
the,
are that
I'm
guy.
the ego here.
Yeah, and I am the anti-ego.
All right. Jill, one of the best defined auto shows of the big four, I think, is the LA Auto Show.
Yes.
It's been green, it's been innovation, it's been alternative fuel, and there's been some really good launches there lately in what have been a sleepy few years.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So let's talk a little LA Auto Show. That's coming up in November. On the phone is Dan Sampson. He's the Chief Marketing Officer for the LA Show. Hello, Dan.
Hi, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is ours. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what it is you do for the LA Auto Show.
That's right. So I'm a relatively new addition to the team. I joined earlier this year, and I oversee all marketing, communications, PR, and media operations for the show. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. It's obviously an iconic show to be a part of. And as a marketer, what better product to work on?
It's a great product. I want to get one ugly conversation out of the way, and then we can just talk fun stuff. Please address the notion that the auto show as we know it is sort of dying.
You know, it's such an interesting conversation because, you know, we do hear that a lot. And interestingly enough, it's said frequently in the automotive press, who you would think intuitively would be championing the auto shows, given that it's such a concentration
You would think that.
of automakers. Yeah, and the innovation in our industry would be celebrated. So listen, I mean, I think I would argue far from it. Auto shows are not fading in relevance. In fact, one could argue that they've never been more relevant. I'll give you 3 reasons why. Okay,
All right.
So number one, for the actual manufacturers, there is no greater concentration of active car shoppers anywhere else on Earth than an auto show. Our own data that we diligently collect every year through attendee surveys and other channels shows that the majority of our surveyed attendees, when they come to the show, are in the market to buy a new car within the next 12 months. So that's the first thing, right? That you have this great concentration of people that are ready to buy their next vehicle and are evaluating brands. Then from the customer standpoint, right, there's no other venue in which you can do a side-by-side comparison of the brands that you're interested in, right? It's a zero-pressure sales environment. You can wander from display to display and actually see and touch and feel and experience the cars that you're interested in in a way you can't in any other venue. And then the third, I guess this is more of a macro point, is just the economic impact that the show has on the city of Los Angeles. It's responsible literally for hundreds of millions of dollars of economic input into the city every year.
Wow.
And I believe we were at last count the largest revenue generator for the Los Angeles Convention Center. So you think about all of the jobs, all of the revenue that's created over the course of the weeks that we're there. It really is it's a major event for the city of Los Angeles. So there you go, guys. My full-throated case for the importance of the auto show across those three vectors.
Yeah, no, I have to say I 100% agree with you. Like every year I have a friend, like a different friend who's buying a new car, and they always want to go with me to the auto show. And, one year I had a friend who had a clipboard and a list of vehicles that he was looking at to buy. And the automaker that was at the top of his list did not happen to show up to the auto show that year. So he bought something else.
Wow.
He bought something else because, his wife had MS, and she actually needed to sit in the vehicles to see how she would feel and if she could get in or out of it okay, if it was too high, too low, whatever. And because that vehicle wasn't there, they completely deleted it from its consideration. And so, I think that is something that manufacturers, they're like, oh, we're saving money. And I'm like, but you're losing money because you're losing customers by not showing up. And I think that the third aspect that you brought up of the economic impact is something that automotive journalists specifically often forget about. And
they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care because, it's all about the cars.
The conversation has always been about the news media relevant stuff at the auto show. And okay, there's no reveals. The people are still going.
I know, people are still going. So what?
And concept cars or things that were revealed elsewhere still show up there. Yeah. Dan, I'm doing your work for you.
Yeah, sorry. We are, as you can tell, we are totally pro auto show.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here enjoying this. This is the easiest interview I've ever done. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the energy of the auto show, because you guys got some players that weren't there last year back, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we're obviously very, very excited to see the return of brands like GMC, Buick, Stellantis, VinFast, and a bunch of others. We actually have. There's two in particular that I can't quite announce yet, but we're extremely excited they're going to be back. It's just a little bit early in the calendar year, but never fear. Maybe I can come back on a little bit closer to the show and do the big reveal with you guys. But
well, that would be great.
We're really excited about that. Yeah, I think that this just proves, the return of those brands. Again, sort of proves the point, right, of the enduring value of the show. And obviously we have all of our, perennial brands that attend the show year after year, the likes of Volkswagen, Honda, Ford, and others. They're in the show this year. We're looking forward to an absolutely packed show. And there's going to be a few surprises thrown in there as well, which I'm, again, a little bit early to announce, but we'll be excited when we do so.
Talk a little bit about the return of Stellantis, because that company brings so much energy to an auto show, and it was such a disappointment that they bowed out last year, and they weren't in LA, they weren't in Chicago, and had a minimal presence at New York, I think.
Yeah, obviously I can't speak on behalf of the brand,
sure.
But I know that they're not showing up to the show last year was actually largely connected to the UAW strike. So I don't think it was really an indictment of the value of the show at all. I just think circumstances conspired that year to take them out. But again, welcoming them back this year and their constellation of brands that we're really excited about.
I was thinking about something on the way here today, and I wrote it down. But one of the interesting things, too, about a good auto show, in LA is obviously a great auto show, is that stuff appears there that may or may not happen. And going back to, I was going through my own coverage, and I was so excited in 2021 about the debut of the Fisker Ocean. Exactly. But 2 years ago, Jill, we saw the Genesis GV80 Coupe. Yep. And you just reviewed that on the show before we started talking to Dan here.
Yep.
Crazy stuff. And sometimes you see great things that are going to happen and not. And that's sort of the love and heartbreak of the auto show. There's just so much going on there. But what should we be looking forward to this year?
Yeah, so again, with the return of the brands that we already talked about, what we always like to say over here at the show is that the cars will always be the stars, but there's also a lot more going on at the show than just that. So, it's a great day out for people, for active car shoppers, for car enthusiasts with our our Hall of Customs and and other installations there that are more for the people that are like, really into the petrol heads, as we call them in my home country. Gearheads, I think is how you say it over here. So there's plenty for those. But also there's a lot of, there's art, there's music, there's food, there's culture. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to experience and explore. Even if you're not really a car person, you're just you're a family that's looking for a great day out. There's so much going on at the show. And I suppose the other thing I'd want to throw in while I have a chance to plug the event is our Automobility LA program this year, which is our Press and Industry Day on Thursday, November 21st. It's back bigger and better this year. We're expanding the program this year, and we're welcoming in great speakers from BMW, from Karma Automotive, from Google, to be part of that industry day. So we have our kind of main stage conference program is coming back for the first time in a few years. We're bringing back the Ziva Awards, our Zero Emission Vehicle Awards. And again, on that day as well, there'll be a bunch of surprises in store for the attendees. So it's a packed program throughout. So we're really excited to see what happens this year.
Obviously, the LA Auto Show is more than this, but are you happy about it being branded the Green Show or the Alternative Energy Show? And what do you have coming for us this year in that regard?
Well, yeah, we welcome that moniker because I think it's a mark of innovation.
Okay.
And that's what we want to showcase at the show, right? Is that we have, obviously there's the vehicle reveals, which are huge for us. There's our brands coming back, but then there's also it's a forum for innovation, for the exploration of new technologies. So all of that goes into this whole idea. If you're talking about being a green or an environmentally friendly show, right? That's all part and parcel of an evolving industry that is showcasing its new technology and its innovations at our show. So that's what we love. We love to build that forum for them and give them a platform to showcase all of that great tech and innovation.
You mentioned that VinFast is back. What other EV makers can we watch for?
So we've got as I say, so Karma will be speaking as part of the Automobility program, and we have a range. Again, I'm backed myself into a corner here because there's a number that we actually can't quite talk about yet.
That's okay. No one's listening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no one's going to hear this.
We won't tell anybody.
Yeah. I wish I could say more. If this was in a month's time, guys, I would be able to share a lot more. But I'm a bit stuck right now. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna take a pass on that question.
Completely understand. We're used to that. That's just like no one ever talks about future product.
Yes. We're used to that answer.
Right. We always ask.
No promises here. No promises here.
Well, tell us about the show itself. When is it? What does it cost? And where is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned before, Automobility LA, our Press and Industry Day, is on Thursday, November 21st. And then on Friday, November 22nd, the doors open for the Consumer Show, which runs through December 1st, including Thanksgiving Day as well. If anybody wants to escape in the morning or the afternoon and come out and see us, we'll be open on that Thursday. Tickets are in the sort of $25 to $30 range, depending on the ticket type that you buy. Obviously, there's a lower rate for kids and students and other groups. So I just encourage everybody to go to LAAutoshow.com for all of the details where you can pick up tickets and see more about the show this year. But again, we're thrilled with the program that we're building this year, and we invite everybody in and around LA and beyond to come and join us.
Now, we do have a lot of California listeners. We were just going down the list of cities where we're popular. Mm-hmm. It turns out that Indianapolis, which I realize is not in California, we're not popular in. But if you are not driving distance from the LA Auto Show, how can you still participate and watch and enjoy?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, one of the best places to follow us along is on our social media channels. We are publishing content there multiple times a day, including a lot of live streaming and other video content. So I would encourage everybody to follow us on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and all those other channels, and you can see all the updates from the show. And it's an interesting point that you make, actually, Tom. That I'm speaking to you from California. This is a California show, but to the point about the impact that the shows can make, we welcome visitors every year from all 50 states in the nation and 41 countries around the world. Wow! So we're a California show. We love our hometown. We love LA, but we truly are a show with a global footprint. So we're very proud of the fact that we have that kind of recognition every state in the nation and around the world.
Sounds good. Dan, obviously we talked to you just a little bit early for some of the breaking news that we wanted. But if you have something you want to share with us, please drop us a line and we'll get you in real quick to talk about it.
Oh, that would be great, guys. I'd love to come back.
All right. Dan, thank you so much for your time today.
All right. I appreciate you both.
All right. LA Auto Show coming up this fall. That was Dan Sampson, the Chief Marketing Officer of the LA Auto Show. We're going to take a break, and when we come back...
Quiz time.
Quiz time.
Questions or comments?
Drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.
That's carstuff@consumerguide.com. Welcome back to the Car Stuff Podcast.
All right, we're back. This is the Car Stuff Podcast. I'm Tom. She's Jill. And Jill, the inside of my crawler is...
Empty.
Empty. You could put things in there.
I guess you could.
For storage. You could probably safely transport something fragile in there. It's a weird use of a donut. And it's also perishable, so...
Why?
Yeah. I got nothing.
Yeah, no.
I got nothing. I'm kind of excited about the auto show season, though.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I just signed up for the LA Auto Show today. I got the notification that it was open for registration. I immediately registered.
I'm a little sad, though, because I remember Fisker, and I was pulling for Fisker. And I mentioned this before, but I interviewed Henrik Fisker years and years and years ago, long before this current Fisker company existed. And he was a nice guy. He was generous with his time.
Right.
He was smart. He was thoughtful. He was worth talking to. And you're like, man, I want this to work for this guy.
But he's just apparently not very business savvy.
Or just things don't work out. I don't know. I'm reluctant to blame him, but who knows? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. But Fisker, I wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of Fisker, this is the world's worst segue. You're on social media.
That is, in fact, a very bad segue.
And I don't know why Fisker would be at this point.
Yeah, I appreciate you, though. Yes, I am on social media. And actually, you know what? Fisker still has, before I get to my social media, Fisker still has a director of communications.
Well, they're holding out.
They are. And I did, we've talked about the idea of me writing this story about how you get your Fisker repaired, coming up because there's some recalls and if anything breaks, that kind of stuff. And I did write the story. And I reached out to the director of communications, and you know what? He responded.
Yeah, so that's something. I've been reaching out to Rivian to get somebody on the podcast. Nothing. And
I'll reach out again.
All right.
Yeah, I mentioned it at the end of one of my other notes to them, and then.
To Rivian?
Yeah.
Wait, they responded to you?
Well, I was talking to them about something else.
Who are you?
I'm important.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to them about something else, and then I was like, oh, and by the way, we should have a mama meeting, and you should be on our show.
Yep.
So I need to send a dedicated email.
MAMA being the Midwest Automotive Media Association. Lots of people are members of that you have probably read the work of.
Yes, and because Rivian has a plant in Illinois.
Southern Illinois. Well, Central Illinois.
I figured that would be a very interesting meeting.
Yeah.
At their plant.
Yeah, they employ a lot of people here. Then they're building a new factory in Georgia. And they had stalled production of that factory because they were running out of cash. But now that Volkswagen has decided to give them several quazillion dollars.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
They threw them $1 billion with the promise of $4 billion more in exchange for their electric architecture.
Yep.
Speaking of which, to get back, and we're getting really confused and off track here, but you had mentioned that Fisker is holding on.
Yes.
They're not currently selling a product. They're not currently building a product, but they may have some assets, including patents, intellectual property. And we don't know that the software that was driving the Fisker was critically flawed or just needed some work.
Right.
But they may actually have EV architecture that may be of value to somebody.
Yes.
So fingers crossed for something from Fisker.
Yes. And
back to Rivian, they've got 2 small crossovers coming out that will save their butts.
Yes. And I'm looking very much forward to those.
Yeah, because the R3, adorbs.
Yeah.
All right. But you were going to tell us about social media.
Social media. So I will keep
I came very close to forgetting about your social media.
I would not let you forget.
Yeah, I know.
So I will be quick. So you can You can find me at Jill Simonello, or I use the hashtag Car du Jour, and I am on pretty much all the things. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, X. I am on X still.
I'm going to make a list of fake social media outlets for you to read next, like Spoons. Spoons, that's a good one.
Once upon a time, I was on Foursquare. I am no longer on Foursquare.
Every Spoon post is a spooner. Did you read my spooner? It was very funny.
That does not sound politically correct in any way.
But you don't know why it's not.
No, but
it just sounds wrong.
It sounds very bad.
All right, it's quiz time. Did you get all that out?
I think I got it all out.
You feel better?
Yes, I do. And I'm eating a donut, so of course I'm feeling better.
I'm eating the Kreller. Producer Randy chose to default to me.
Yeah.
So you got the chocolate.
Yeah, I got the chocolate.
Always safe.
Yes.
I've got the Kreller with chocolate.
Yeah.
By the way, there aren't different types of chocolate at Spunky Dunkers. This is that chocolate.
It is the same chocolate.
Yeah.
And it's not pink, so I will not get hives.
Spunky Dunkers, though I'm not besmirching their product in any way, is just like Taco Bell. There are like 4 ingredients total in the whole place.
Okay.
All right.
It's
quiz time.
Yep.
You know what the topic is?
I don't.
Fake auto shows.
Okay.
I didn't look up any history, but this comes through this list comes from the OICA website. That's the International
OIC?
OICA.
OIC. Sorry.
I don't know if that was intentionally meant to be funny, but
No,
I'm glad that you saw the humor there.
Yeah.
The International Organization of Motor Vehicle Manufacturers.
Okay. OIC. Yeah.
Which, in 25 years of being an auto journalist,
Never heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
But I don't think I ever need to deal with it. But maybe they are responsible for coordinating auto shows.
Okay. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to read you an auto show. You need
Okay.
to tell me if it's real.
Okay, and I think I'm going to sneeze, so I'll apologize in advance. Excuse me.
Wow. You just
I felt
lost
it coming.
weight.
I did.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. No, we could mop that up later.
Sorry, I'll just wipe it off the microphone.
Clean up aisle studio.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
I at least turned away from the
Yeah,
donuts.
we can throw that mic out.
Sorry.
You all right?
Yeah.
Is there
I'm
another
good.
one coming?
No.
Okay.
Usually I just have one.
All right. My dad famously sneezes in 3s.
Yeah.
If there's 1, there's 3, and they're powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like he could move like a small vessel at sea some distance by sneezing off the back of it.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. All right, 5 auto shows here. You need to find the fakes.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to read it to you. Ready?
Okay.
The Bangkok International Motor Show.
Okay.
Real or fake? Bangkok International Motor Show. Per the OICA, if it's real, it was on their schedule for 2024. Also, there's 5 questions plus a bonus question. Mm-hmm. All right.
And I need to get 3 to win, right?
You need to get 3 to win.
Okay.
No, this week it's 6.
No. Bangkok.
Bangkok International Motor Show.
I know there's a Shanghai. I'm going to say no.
Oh, yeah, that one's real. Jill, you have no points.
And you know what? That's your favorite phrase.
It is.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to say it much lately. You've had a good year.
Yeah.
All right, that one is fake. You have no points. You have 4 more auto shows plus the bonus question to get 3.
Okay.
The heat is on. The Brazzaville Congolese Transportation Expo. I said Brazzaville. Is it Brazzaville? Brazzaville. I think that's right. The Brazzaville Congolese Transportation Expo.
I'm just like, okay, Congolese. Gut instinct is to say no.
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 I was looking around. I don't know if there is an African auto show. I don't know. So you got your first point. Let me write that down because I forget. Mm-hmm. You've got 1. All right. The Gaikindo Indonesian International Auto Show. Gaikindo Indonesian International Auto Show.
Can you spell that?
I can. Gaikindo. Gaikindo.
I'm going to say no.
That one's real. It is put together by the Association of Indonesian Automotive Industries. Acronym, Gaikindo. All right, you're in trouble now. The Sofia Motor Show.
Sophia.
Sofia, S-O-F-I-A, Sofia Motor Show.
Ironically, I have a friend called Sophia whose birthday is actually today.
And she produces auto shows?
No, she does not.
Then I don't see the relevance.
No. Just wishing happy birthday to a friend.
Happy birthday, Sophia.
Yes. It seems like it's something that shouldn't be an auto show, but it's the kind of thing that I feel like you would throw at me to trick me.
Possibly.
Because you do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes. The Sofia Motor Show is in October and is sponsored by the Association of Car Manufacturers and their authorized representatives for Bulgaria.
Ooh.
Yeah. So does that give you 2? You have 2.
Yes.
You need 1 more.
Okay.
All right. The Camion Exposition de Parma. I'm sorry, de Panama.
I'm like, Di Parma. That would be like Parmesan or something.
Or a
in
good
Italy.
director.
Huh?
Or a good director.
Yeah. Di Parma.
That's De Palma. Yeah.
De Panama. De Panama.
It's Brian De Palma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The Untouchables. Good movie.
Okay. So read it one more time.
The Camion.
Camion.
Camion. Camion Exposition de Panama.
I'm going to say no.
No. You've won. I even looked it up. Camion is like the Spanish word for truck.
Okay.
All right, you've won, but we go to the bonus question because that is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
One of the single most hideous things to infect this country is pumpkin spice crap.
Hey, don't mess with my PSL.
Yeah. All right.
I like my PSL.
I need you to tell me which of the following pumpkin spice products, this is per wideopencountry.com, which of the following pumpkin spice products is not actually real?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Pumpkin spice. Mm-hmm. God, when I worked at an office, every freaking person was into pumpkin spice.
Well, you know what? And the thing is, it's about time for PSL to return.
It is.
And like you would think that August is not the time for PSL, but I feel like right around my wedding anniversary is when it shows up. And
yeah, the Halloween stores are showing up now too.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. All right, ready? Mm-hmm. Pumpkin spice Pringles.
Or
Cedars pumpkin spice hummus. KFC pumpkin and feta twister. Or the McDonald's of Canada pumpkin spice Coke Zero.
And you're asking me which one is not real or
Which one is fake?
Okay, go through those one more time.
Sure. Pumpkin spice Pringles, Cedars, pumpkin spice hummus. By the way, they spell hummus the easiest way. KFC pumpkin and feta twister, and the McDonald's pumpkin spice Coke Zero.
Those all actually sound kind of hideous.
Yes. The hummus is probably not terrible.
Sweet hummus does not appeal to me, and pumpkin spice.
But
always
pumpkin
thinks-
shows up in Middle Eastern stuff, so it's a more natural.
Yeah. Pumpkin spice Pringles.
There's an Afghan restaurant in Chicago, Kabul House, not so far from you. They do stuff with pumpkin. Very, very good. That's a great restaurant. You also can't get in, and they don't take reservations.
So since we're digressing,
Yeah.
I have to do a little bit of a plug for the best Indian restaurant I found in Chicago.
When are you taking me?
When do you want to come visit?
Indian food is my favorite food.
Okay. Do you like spice?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so this is called the Spice Room,
Oh,
and it's on Armitage, kind of like just past, like just east of California on Armitage. And it is literally the best Indian food I think I've ever had in my life.
there was an Indian restaurant in Arlington Heights called Chowpatty. It was vegetarian. It was there for a number of years. It was run basically by a guy and his daughter. So the service was really slow. The dining room was nothing to speak of. And the prices were really high. And the food was totally worth it. And he was my waiter one day. And he's like, how spicy do you like it? And I'm like, how spicy can it get? He goes, our scale is 1 to 7. And I said, 5. He goes, our 5 is very hot. And I think he tried to kill me.
Okay.
Because I said 5, and it seemed, the firehouse that he brought me,
Yeah.
the blazing charcoal hot stuff he gave me seemed like as hot as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like I was just injecting Tabasco straight into my veins.
Oh, yeah. No, we
Also,
ordered...
I ate it. It was delicious.
Oh, yeah. We ordered a vindaloo. And it was chicken vindaloo. And I have to tell you, it was incredibly spicy. And it was funny because she was like, this is very hot. She's like, are you sure you want to order it? And we're like, yes. And she's like, it's very hot. She must have said it's very hot like 5 times. She was probably looking at my pasty white skin, and she's just like, it's very, very hot.
we are way off topic. But
yes.
but the heat is actually very regional, like it is in the U.S. Like
Yeah.
hot stuff tends to be Southern or Tex-Mex or something like this.
But
And it's the same thing in India.
Just had to give a plug for the Spice Room.
All right.
So, okay, so you
I'll
said...
go through the list again. Pumpkin
Yes.
spice Pringles.
Ugh.
Cedars pumpkin spice hummus, KFC pumpkin and feta twister. Feta and pumpkin sounds awful. And McDonald's pumpkin spice Coke Zero.
What the heck is a twister?
I actually watched. Crap, I gave it away.
So that's real.
That's real.
Got it.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Okay.
It's an actual wrap, and
Okay.
I don't think it's available in the U.S. I think it's UK based on the ads I was watching.
Okay. Okay, so that one's off the list.
Wow, I blew it. I've never blown that like before.
I just keep asking you questions.
Yeah.
I'll get there eventually. To me, pumpkin spice Pringles sounds hideous.
Yes, it does.
But I don't know that I've ever seen like a soda with pumpkin spice, but like a pumpkin spice Coke doesn't sound bad to me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the Pringles.
No, it's the Coke.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, the Canada thing was a bit too much detail, so that made that fun. Yeah, that's the fake.
All right.
I have not seen versions of Coke Zero, but there's a lot of like weird things that they used to do with Coke and Pepsi, like lime, that they only sold through like Target, weird stuff. Anyway, here you go. I'm signing this for you.
I like the vanilla Coke.
I've had that.
That was my favorite.
You ever had a real cherry Coke?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, from a fountain.
There you go.
Yep. All right.
All right, there was something I wanted to talk about here real quick, although we don't have to go real quick. We have 4 minutes left. Which is coolest? This is another one of my dumb quizzes, or one of my dumb polls on Twitter, on Twitter X. Are you ready?
I think I saw this. It was about wagons, wasn't it?
No, I'm not talking about that one yet, but if you've seen it,
I saw it.
the surprise is, we could just talk about that now then, too. Bentley, Jaguar, or Rolls-Royce, which is coolest? This would be to the Twitter head, the car heads on Twitter.
So Bentley, Jaguar, or...
Rolls,
Bentley.
Yes, and it was close.
Okay.
So it was Bentley and the Jaguar, and Rolls didn't even make the list. No one voted for it. But it makes sense. Bentley was really into racing. They have a deep, deep history. You know, they worked with V12s and huge inline sixes and stuff. Bentley's a cool brand.
Yeah. One of the coolest test cars I think I've ever had was a Bentley Continental GT that was like fluorescent green.
Oh, I had the, what was it called? The 8, Bentley 8, which was really fast.
Yeah, no, this was really cool. And this was the vehicle that prompted all of my neighbors to finally talk to me and say, what in the hell do you do? But my husband and I called it the Appletini because it was like that vibrant, like green color. Well,
on the list, too, Jaguar came up right afterwards, but Jaguar is steeped in meaningful history.
Yeah.
And cool V12s and great inline sixes and beautiful design. That goes way back. And their racing cars were gorgeous. There was also, I don't think you'll know what this car is, but there was an XJ12, the XJS, which was the big coupe from the mid-'80s.
Okay.
I don't think it went as far back as the 70s, but just a big V12 coupe. There's a racing version of that car that looks absurd. It's delightful. Like, you wouldn't think that a big V12 coupe would ever race, but they took it on the track.
Yeah, and it just makes me like super sad that Jaguar is so cool and to see where it is right now.
Yeah, it feels a little wrapped up. And actually there was some news today that I didn't read about it, but they may be backing off their EV plans a little bit, which means what? What do they have?
Yeah, they've got nothing.
Really, their plans, their hopes and dreams are all they have.
Yeah.
So you saw that poll I did about which was cooler, a convertible or a station wagon. And man, station wagons are making a comeback, at least in people's memories. No one sells any.
Well,
Volvo.
I would argue. So Volvo sells them.
And BMW doesn't in Europe.
Yeah, and Mercedes still has, I think, the E-Wagon.
The E450, I'm not going to remember the full name of this vehicle. But
like
it's an all-terrain.
Whatever, or something.
But it's one of those all-terrain wagons.
Yeah.
I drove that vehicle. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I would also argue, that even though they don't call it a wagon, that the Toyota Crown Signia is a wagon.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
I want to see how well that sells. They don't seem to be bracing for big volume.
No.
But it could do some more volume than they think. All right, anything else going on?
No, I'm not traveling this week, so I'm going to be playing catch up on life, and hopefully I'll have some cool things to talk about next week that I actually worked on.
In the last couple of weeks, I did a lot of reviews, so those are all up there on at consumerguide.com. Also, interestingly, after driving lots of crazy near exotic vehicles with two seats and difficult for an old man to get in and out of, this week I had the Elantra hybrid. I get the Prius tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to driving. I think it's the Prius Prime.
Okay.
Which is the plug-in hybrid. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's cool. Well, next week, I want to make sure we spend some time talking about eBay Motors.
I know you did something with them. I think, is that one of the first time they've ever recorded automotive journalists? I think it is.
I think
volume.
They did something in January, I think, with maybe winter tires and stuff like that. But the idea here is they invited a group of us out to drive 4 vehicles kitted out in eBay Motors parts and accessories.
Well, that's a cool story.
Yeah, and it's really cool.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, so cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll talk about that next week.
No, I followed the social media on that.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand what the event was.
Yeah.
So I'll need to be briefed. Briefed.
Briefed.
Braced?
Briefed.
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 Debriefed.
Debriefed.
Rebraced.
You could say that.
All right. Big thanks to Dan Sampson of the LA Auto Show. Thank you, Jill. Thanks to producer Randy and the good folks here at TalkZone. A special shout out to my friends Steve and Johnny. I was on their show last Saturday. If you want to track that down and listen to that, you can. Let's talk more about cars again.
Next week.
Remember to check us out at consumerguide.com.
The Car Stuff Podcast is produced by J-Turn Media.
To advertise on the show, please drop us a line at carstuff@consumerguide.com.